बोलिए सतगुरु महाराज की जय, सच्चे दरबार की जय. This past week we celebrated the birth of Lord Ram. Last week we talked about Navratri, the 9 nights of cleansing. And as these 9 nights end, on the 10th day is the celebration of Lord Ram. This represents, the number 9 has a huge importance. It represents the 9 doors of our body through which the mind is engaged with the outside world. And when one can bring all their attention, all their focus inwards from all of these 9 doors and use that energy to connect with that supreme that exists within, it is then that the birth of Ram means that Shakti, that power that exists within us. It is when all of these, the mind from all of the 9 doors is focused within, and this energy is risen upwards so that our consciousness expands, so that we live our true existence. And today, we're going to share the 9 steps of bhakti, of devotion, that Lord Ram gave to his disciple Mata Shabri. That if one wants to live a joyous, peaceful life, if one wants to be connected to their true existence, if one wants to live their life to their fullest purpose, then these 9 steps need to be followed. This is the path he laid out. So we'll have Anisa, Vignesh, Devin, and Jeevan sing the verses in between, and I'll explain each verse or each step of the 9 steps of bhakti. So I'll turn you over to them. So he starts off with saying that I am going to tell you the 9 paths, the 9 steps of bhakti. But he says, bring your full attention, your full focus right here. The alertness that's required in a satsang is equal to the alertness required when someone's at war. I know we don't go to war often, but if you can think of a soldier who does, has to be fully alert at every moment, because he knows if there's even for a split second, if he loses focus or loses attention, it can cost him his life. So Lord Ram is saying, bring your full mind here. Bring your full focus, your full attention here, and listen very carefully to what these 9 steps are. Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram. So listen carefully because I will ask you afterwards. First step is Santan Kar Sangha, meaning to stay in the company of saints. And the second step is that bring your mind to be present when you're listening to satsang as well. So the first step is to have company of saints. Satsang, let's talk about that word for a second, comes from two, sat meaning truth and sang meaning union. So today we say everywhere, oh yeah, there's satsang at my home, there's satsang there, there's satsang there, there's satsang there. But our scriptures say that satsang is where you learn about how to unite with the truth. Satsang does not mean being able to say beautiful stories, beautiful kathas, use the scriptures, give explanations about it, but with the lack of talking about uniting with the truth. So satsang happens in the company of saints who talk about uniting with that truth. Not about believing in a superpower, but knowing this superpower, connecting to this superpower. And when we talk about the mind, because we're blessed now, every Sunday we have a satsang gathering, but we could be physically present here, but where's the mind? Some of us sit with our phones right beside us, or maybe even in our pocket, and every time there's a ding, even during satsang, our mind is there. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji, there's a beautiful story in his life that illustrates this. Guru Nanak Dev Ji was known, or his reputation that preceded him was that he's changing people's religion. That he only believes in Hinduism, and that's what he's trying to convert everyone to. So there was a governor, and a Muslim governor, who had a conversation with him and says, you don't believe in Islam. And Guru Nanak Dev Ji says who? I do believe in Islam. And he says, well, if you do believe in Islam, then come with me to do the namaz. Namaz is the prayer that's done in the mosque by the Islamic tradition. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji says, sure, I'll join you in the namaz. So he goes with the governor, the qazi, who's the priest of the mosque, is there with them. And the three of them start to do the namaz. And the qazi and the governor are going through the motions where they stand, they sit, they put their hands on the ears, going through all of the poses. But Guru Nanak Dev Ji is just standing there watching them. At the end of the prayer, the governor said, you said you believe in Islam and that you would do the namaz with us to prove that you do believe in Islam, but you didn't. You were just standing there. So Guru Nanak Dev Ji said, but neither of you did the namaz either. And he says, they're like, well, what do you mean? We did it right in front of you. He turns to the qazi and he says, you were thinking about that horse that is about to give birth of yours. And you're worried about how her health is going to be. Is the birth going to go okay? Then he turns to the governor and says, you were calculating which horses you could sell at the market later today so that you could make more money. So neither of you were doing the namaz. So it's not enough just to be physically present, but to be mentally present as well. In satsangs, when Narad asks Lord Krishna, if someone was to find you very easily, where would they look? Do they go to a temple? Do they say a prayer? What do they do to find you very, very easily? And Lord Krishna says, you don't need to go to a temple. You don't need to say a prayer. But where my disciples gather to sing my praises, I am present there. And our scriptures say that just being in satsang says, Adhi gadi se bhi aad. If you take a moment, even half of that moment, if you spend that much time in a satsang, not just being physically present, but mentally present as well, that cuts so much of our karma, so much of our negative thoughts. So be alert in each satsang. Remind yourself that this time is for you, for your growth. So keep your mind fully engaged, fully present, because you don't know which word, which thought will change your life forever. For a revolution to happen, it started with one thought. For an invention to happen, it started with one thought. So to bring about a change in your life, all it can take is one thought. So what is he saying further? Let's listen. So first one was company of saints. Second, mind has to be present. Third seva, he says, to serve in the lotus feet of a guru. Our scriptures say, Na tumam shakya se drashtum ananev swe chakshusha divyam dadamete chakshuhu pashime yogeshwaram. That when evil pervades, God says, I will manifest myself. God sends His power in the form of a Sat Guru. And just like when the sun comes out, when you wake up in the morning, if you've woken up after sunrise, how do you know that the sun is out? Because there's already light. That light proves that the sun is out. The sun doesn't need to prove itself. Just like that, our scriptures say that the definition or the identification of a guru is one who can awaken that internal light, who blesses your divine eye and shows you the light of your soul within. And when this light is lit within, this is what removes darkness. This is what removes negativity from our life. And that guru is revered. If we surrender, the concept of bowing is in all traditions, especially when it comes to God, to that universal power. automatically, when you go to a holy place, you automatically close your eyes and bow your head. Because we receive energy from here and release energy from our feet. So when we bow our head in the lotus feet of Guru, we're looking to receive the positive energy, that positive vibration from him, and release our negative tendencies, release our negative energies, release our negative karma. In the Guru Granth Sahib it says, "Teen lok nav khand mein, Guru se bada na koi. Karta kare na kar sake, Guru kare so koi." That in the 3 worlds and the 9 universes, there is no one greater than Guru. What God cannot do, Guru can do. Because God looks at what you do. You do good karma, you receive good. You do bad karma, you receive bad karma. And one thing I mentioned last week, anybody remember the average comment? No? Don't remember the average comment? Yeah. That if you've got 90s in all of your grades, but in one subject, if you get a low grade, it brings your average down. So Guru came to me in my meditation this week and said, that theory does not apply when it comes to karma. Because that's what individuals will say, well, I do everything good, but one bad karma, that's okay if my average comes down a little bit. But Guru reminded me that if you do bad karma, if you do a bad action, it gives a bad result. God does not look at your average. God looks at each action and you're rewarded for each action that you do. But Guru is the compassionate aspect of God. Is the one who comes on earth to help us lift our burden, to help take away our karma. And he does it through giving us opportunities. Opportunities of seva, opportunities of being in holy congregation, in satsangs, in numerous different ways. One disciple of Sri Ashutosh Maharaj he runs a machine shop. And one day, as he was trying to cut some metal, the phone rings. He picks up the phone and it is Guru on the other side. And Guru says to him, immediately come to the ashram. Immediately. The man says, sure, Guru. Hangs up the phone. That last piece that he was cutting, he says, let me just finish cutting this and I'll go. And as he's cutting this last piece, he cuts his thumb in the machine. He grabs it, quickly holds it, bandages his hand, and runs to the ashram. And he lived very close. Guru says, it's too late. This is what I was trying to avoid. It's too late now. So Guru finds different opportunities to burn away our karma. To take this huge bundle that we have and reduce it to something really small. It is only a Satguru who has that capacity. The disciples of Sri Yukteswar, of Larry Marshai, ask him this question, that what is the biggest seva? What is the biggest service? Is it to feed the homeless, to donate to the poor? Larry Marshai says, that is your duty as a human, to help the less fortunate. But the greatest seva of all is to connect someone to the lotus feet of the true Guru. Because that service is not only momentarily, but it's something that will help the disciple for lifetimes. That is the greatest service. The fourth is to sing the praises of God. Today, we shy away from telling people about Guru. We shy away from talking about spirituality and meditation. Although, if you look around, every individual is seeking, is looking for something deeper. And it ties back to the third, the greatest service being about talking about this truth. To spread this truth and to talk about your own experience. How receiving Gyan has changed your life. How awakening this light within you has removed the negativity, has created a positive atmosphere. Speaking about those experiences. A true disciple looks for every opportunity, every moment where they can have this conversation. And then it won't feel like Guru or spirituality is just for Sunday, because you'll have these conversations throughout the day with the people you work, with the people you interact with, every day of the week. So as much as you can, spend time remembering Guru in your daily life, talking about what he has blessed you with, because you're a handful of people and there's a whole world out there looking for change, looking for bliss, looking for joy. What does he say further? Let's listen. Ram Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Ram. Ram Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Ram. He says, mantra jap mam dred vishvasa. Mantra. Today that word is used very loosely as well. Man means mind, and mantra is that mantra that plays within us. We recite mantras on the outside to help the mind focus, to help the mind concentrate, and to create a positive atmosphere. But within us is the ultimate mantra that lies within, that's beyond language, that cannot be recited, but is only heard when the soul merges with the Absolute. When a Guru blesses you with that awakening to see the light of your soul, he also reveals this ultimate mantra that exists within. And Sri Ram says that as you contemplate, as you meditate upon this mantra, faith is born. Faith, you either have it or you don't have it. There's no in between. Let me share with you the story of this man. One day, in their little town, they've got a village, and he's ringing the bell of this temple and yelling, God exists, God exists, hey everyone, God exists, God is great. The priest says, what happened today? Yes, God does exist, but why are you so ecstatic today? And he says, you know, this morning I came to say a prayer. I said to God, if you exist, then make sure my son who has an interview today gets the job. And my son got the job. God exists. He listened to my prayer. A few days later, the same man is screaming, standing outside the temple, "There is no God, I tell you. God does not exist. It's all lies. He doesn't listen to prayers." The priest comes back and says, "Well, what happened today?" He says, "I came this morning, I said a prayer that we're taking my wife for a checkup, make sure her health has increased. But the doctor told us her situation has worsened. So God does not exist." Funny, but it is the state of our faith today. As long as things go our way, we believe God exists. But the moment there is a struggle, the moment there's a trying situation, the seed of doubt starts to creep within us. And if it doesn't creep, then there's others who will come back and say, "Well, what about your guru? Where was he? Why wasn't he helping you? Why did he put you through this difficult situation?" And the seed of doubt is like a weed. Just like your weeds don't let your plants grow, the seed does not let your plant of spirituality grow. But if you meditate upon that mantra that lies within, there is nothing that can move your faith. Lord Jesus said in the book of Matthew that if you have faith the size of a mustard seed is like a speck. If you have that much faith, you can ask this mountain in front of you to move, and it will move. Faith. And this teaching Lord Jesus gave when his disciples tried to heal a young boy and they were unable to. And people said the same to them. "Well, what happened to your Guru Jesus? We thought he gave you the power to heal. What happened? You couldn't heal this young boy." And that's when Jesus gave this message, because his disciples lacked faith. They didn't even have faith that their Guru has given them this power to heal. And the mountains that Jesus is referring to is those trying situations, those difficult circumstances. That if you had even this much faith, you ask this situation to be cleared out of your life, it will be cleared. It will be cleared. But where we lack is faith. We tap into Guru when we choose to, and we retract when we choose to. But if we spend continuous time meditating upon that mantra, that's why the concept of Simran was given to us, which means constant remembrance on that mantra that lies within you. Throughout your day, if you can tap into your breath and tap into that mantra within, faith will naturally exist. At the time of the birth of Lord Krishna, without getting too much into the detail of the story, there was an exchange of babies that had to happen. And in order for this exchange to happen, Lord Krishna's father had to break through a prison, had to go across a river while it was storming to exchange the baby and then come back and be there before the guards saw him. When he received this direction from Guru, from God, that this is what you're supposed to do, he picked up the baby and started walking. He didn't stop to think, well, the prison's locked, the guards are outside. How am I going to go across this river? He didn't spend time worrying and thinking about things. He just picked up and started to perform his duty. And as he picked up this baby and walked, the prison cell was unlocked. The guards were fast asleep. And he walked across this river. The same happened at the time of Moses. The river parted, made a path so the disciples could walk through. Because when one has full faith in God, which runs this entire universe, then every part of God's creation works for that individual. Helps that individual's path become easier. These stories we hear about are individuals like you and me. Not special beings that came on earth at that time. Or someone who had special powers. They're beings like you and me. But even nature changed its course for them because of the faith they had. So Lord Rama reminds us that if you don't have such strong faith, then spend time meditating upon that mantra that lies within, and faith will be born. What does he say further? Let's self-control and good character. Today, when we talk about control, we like to control everything around us, everyone around us. We have to make sure that only we've got this budget, this is for groceries, we've got this budget, this is for the bills. We control it. We like to control other people's reactions. You know when you're going to have a very important conversation, in your head you play, I'm going to say this, then they're going to say this, then I'm going to say this, then they're going to say this. And then when it doesn't happen like that, then we get upset. Let me share the story of a husband and wife. Husband was very systematic, very controlled, liked to make sure nothing was wasted, everything that they bought was used. So in olden times, they used to light a fire to cook their food. So every month, he gave his wife a matchbox. He knew each matchbox had 30 matches, so it should last her the month. One day, on the 28th day, she says, the matches are done. I need more matches. He says each matchbox has 30 matches. But today is day 28, so what happened to the other 2 matches? The extent of control. But everything on the outside. But this mind that sits within has no control. We spend no time, no energy trying to control this mind. Our scriptures say that all the other animals, species, they all have one bad vice that they succumb to. But man has 5 senses through which the mind is oozing outwards. But how much time do we spend trying to control this mind? Which is the only thing we really have control over, rather than the external situations, circumstances, or the people around us. But they say, if the mind is pleasant, life is pleasant. If the mind is happy, life will be happy. So if we can spend our energy on controlling the mind, not letting it give into our senses, our mental strength will be so strong. And today we know, society as a whole, we struggle with mental strength. One of the easiest ways that the Vedas have given us in order to build your mental strength is to spend a day fasting. This tongue, if we can control it for one day, it will help build your mental strength. One simple thing you can do. And if you can't fast, do a complete fast, then modify it. Have fruits only for a day. But control this tongue for a day in a week, okay? Not a month, in a week. Fast for one day in a week in order to build mental strength. Because when it comes to character, our mind, our speech, and our actions build our character. So if the mind is pure, if the speech is pure, our actions will naturally be pure, but will enable us to be individuals of good character. Because Lord Krishna says that you still have to fulfill your duty. When Arjuna is stuck in this situation, he's in the middle of the battlefield, he has to kill his own relatives because they're unrighteous. He says, drop the weapons and says, I'm okay not doing any of this. Let me walk away from this. But Lord Krishna reminds him that you still have to fulfill your duty. We as individuals have duties. Whether it's the duty of a child, the duty of a sibling, the duty of an employee, the duty of an employer, we have a lot of duties. But how do you ensure that you are fulfilling each of those duties correctly? That in every moment, in every thought, in every action of yours, you are fulfilling it properly. Because we all know, if we're meant to get a promotion but someone else got it, we get upset and angry. And get vengeful as well. And we'll try to think about how to make this other person's life difficult. But an individual that walks the path of truth understands that there is no one in this world that can take away what you deserve. No one. No one has that power. So you get what you are meant to get. You receive what you're meant to receive at every moment. But if you can bring your focus, your attention to what are the thoughts that run through my mind? My speech, is it good? Is it positive? Is it uplifting? Or am I putting this person down? Am I creating a negative atmosphere? Am I saying, oh, I just use one swear word, that's it? But each word has a vibration. Swami Vivekananda says you can go into a mountain, into a cave, and you can say one negative word there. And that, the vibration of that word will last for generations. So imagine all the words being said in your environment on a daily basis. Imagine the environment it's creating. So Lord Ram is saying, if you can keep this mind focused on that mantra, automatically the mind will be pure. If the mind is pure, the thoughts will be pure. If the thoughts are pure, your speech and your actions will be pure. And you will become an individual of good character. Ram is also known as the right action man. The scripture he left us, the story of his life that he went through. He was wronged. He was sent into exile for 14 years, which he, if you look at what he did in life, he didn't deserve. But at every moment, he made the right decision. And he's enabling us to also do the same if we follow the path he has laid out for us. What does he say further? You guys are following, or do we need to do a recap of the first 6? Recap? Okay. First one, company of saints. Second one, mind, being alert, being present. Third one, serve the lotus feet of a Satguru. Fourth one, sing the praises of Guru. Talk to people about your experience, your journey. Fifth one, Simran, constant remembrance on the mantra within to build your faith. Sixth one, I just explained that one. Self-control and good character. Seventh one, he says to see God in everyone. See God in that child that's testing your patience. See God in that spouse that's getting on your nerves. See God in the employer that is not being fair. See God in that person that cut you off in traffic. See God in that person that's trying to butt in line at the grocery store. See God in everyone. A much easier concept in theory. But when it comes to practical, not easy. Not easy at all. But if we go back to history and look at the people who lived that, one person is Bhai Kanhaiya. Kanhaiya served in the army of Guru Gobind Singh. His duty was to give water to the wounded soldiers. He was giving water to the wounded soldiers, but not just the wounded soldiers of his own army, but the wounded soldiers of the enemy's army as well. So the soldiers went to Guru and said, he's giving them water as well, tending to them as well. And then they're fit and fine and starting to fight with us again. So Kanaya is called to Guru's court. Kanaya, people are complaining that you're mending the enemy's wounds and giving them water as well. And he says, Guru, sorry for my mistake. But I see you in all. I can't tell who is the enemy and who is our army. The only way this is possible, to get to a state where you see God in all, is not something that you can mentally tell yourself, but it is a realization that one can get to when their consciousness expands. Jesus gives us one easy method. He says, do unto others as you would like done unto yourself. So before you take an action, ask yourself, would I like it if someone did this to me? Would I like it if someone said this to me? If you can take that extra moment before each action, before each thing you say out of your mouth, you will refrain from a lot of actions and thoughts and speeches that do not enable you to see God in them. But if you can use that guide that Jesus gave us, that will help. But an individual who is grounded, who is established in that light within, who sees this light within on a daily basis, comes to the realization that they are not this being, that they are the soul. And as you come to this realization, that will start to spread to everyone around. And you'll come to recognize that that same power, that same Shakti that sits within me, sits within all of these individuals as well. And that will enable you to see God in them. What does Lord Rama say further? Let's hear. The eighth one, he says to be content and not to look at another's weakness, not to judge. Anybody been to a party lately? When you sit there, oh, look at her hair. Oh, her pants are too high. Oh, she's gained weight. Oh man, he's balding. We pass judgments left, right, and center. And social media has made it even easier because now you can hide behind this screen and pass all the judgment you want. But Jesus Christ says that you point out the speck in your brother's eye, but you forget about the plank in your own. Saints in the Vedas have said that if you constantly focus on your weaknesses and what you need to better, you won't have time to look at anybody else's weakness. If we could judge a little less, this world would become a much beautiful place. As we were growing up, we were told, if you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. But how many of us apply that? So Lord Rama is reminding us that he says, even in your dreams, don't look at someone's weakness. Thinking about someone's weakness while you're awake is a far concept. He says, even in your dreams, don't think about someone's weakness. If you remember that whatever you receive is your own doing, whether it's good, whether it's bad, whether it's positive, whether it's negative, whether someone's righted you, whether someone's wronged you, at the end of the day, you have to reply for your own actions, and they have to reply for their own actions. And trust me, God is a much better judge than you are. So stop looking at others' weaknesses. Because, you know, when someone newly falls in love, all they see is the good, the beauty. Oh, he's so charming. He opens the door for me. She's so beautiful. She cooks great. But what happens over time? Or when you break up with that person, all you see is the negative. Oh man, he was like, drinking every night, or she was doing this. It's what you focus upon. That proves to us that every single individual has good and bad. We're not perfect. No one is perfect. If we were perfect, we wouldn't be here. We'd be merged back with God. But it's the lens we wear. When you wear a red pair of sunglasses, all you'll see is red. So if the lens you're wearing is about looking at weaknesses, you will find weakness in anything. Oh my God, that door is not straight. Even that you'll find a weakness. But if your lens is of a positive lens, you will find good in someone that no one finds good. When Lord Krishna comes into the city Mathura, there is this lady hunched over, always crabby attitude, always yelling at people. The children will come and tease her, and she's like hitting them with her stick. Her name was also Kubja. Kubja means someone who's hunched over. But Lord Krishna goes up to her and says, "Hi, beautiful lady." And she yells at him too. "Stop making fun of me. Stop mocking me." And he says, "No, all I see is a beautiful lady." And he holds her chin and lifts it up. And as he is lifting her chin up slowly, she becomes erect and beautiful. In that lady, that no one saw beauty. That people cursed her, made fun of her because she was hunched over. And because of hearing that, over time, she became that person. That is why very meaningful names were given to children in olden times. Because every time you call this word, that vibration inspired that soul to become that. So when people constantly called her kubja and ugly, she became that person. But Lord Krishna reminded her of that spark, of that beauty that existed within her, and helped her realize it one more time. Be that person in everybody's life. If someone's got a negative attitude and is harping upon how bad they are or how they're not good at something, find that little spark and remind them of it. Especially our younger generation, they need it today. Remind them of that beauty that exists within. And Lord Ram says, even in your dreams, don't think of someone's weaknesses. So maybe we don't know what we dream about, but at least while you're awake and alert, if you're seeing someone's weakness, remind yourself of one good quality. So if someone has a good quality of patience, but they've got a bad habit or something that annoys you, tag that good word to that person. Because every time the mind thinks of their weakness or their bad quality or something they did that you didn't like, remind yourself of that word patience. Every time you think of this person, you'll think of the word patience. That will shift your mentality from looking at their good qualities rather than their weakness. What does he say? The last step, 9th step, let's listen. Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram. He says in the last line is to have faith in God. Faith comes again in the 9th step. And to be still in happiness and in sad. To be content. Today we pray that all good happens to us, but all bad happens to the person next to us. There was a man who had this boon. He worshipped God a lot and he got a boon. And God said, you can have whatever you want, but whatever you get, your neighbor will get double. The man says, okay, he's excited that, he's got this boon. So he says, I want a palace. He gets a beautiful palace. He's so excited about it. But when he walks out of it, he sees that his neighbor has 2. Makes him angry. He says, I want a beautiful car, Rolls Royce. So happy about it. But when he looks in the neighbor's driveway, there's 2. Now he sits and he thinks, how can I make sure that he doesn't get double? What do I do? And he thinks and thinks for days. And then he says, God, I have another wish. I want you to remove one of my eyes. And God says, are you sure? You want me to remove one of your eyes? He goes, yeah, because then you're going to have to remove both the eyes of my neighbor and he won't be able to enjoy everything he has. Maybe not to that drastic effect, but in much subtler ways, we think the same way. When we pray for happiness for us. But Lord Ram says, happiness, sadness, 2 sides of the same coin. A dollar coin cannot have one side and not the other. It doesn't make it a dollar. So he says, have faith that power who's created you will carry you through life as well. The classic poem of Footprints, where you see 2 footprints in the sand and then you only see one, and God says, that's when I carried you. Guru's promise to us was not that I'm going to take away your struggles. But his promise to us was that through this technique of Brahm Gyan, through this awakening, I will give you the strength you need to go through whatever comes your way. To accept good as it comes and to accept bad as it comes as well. But my promise to you is that I will be with you every step of the way. And I've given you the technique to build your willpower, to build your strength, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual strength, so that you can go through this journey with ease, with contentment. So the 9th step, Lord Rama is saying, have faith in that Creator who has sent you on earth. We are the crown of God's creation. But if we can surrender to Him, if we can give this mind a break and help it understand that whatever God puts in my path, He's also given me the strength to go through it. What does He say in conclusion? Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, Jai Ram, Ram, Siya Ram, Siya Ram, So he says, Shabri, I tell you, if one wants to live their life to their truest purpose, then these are the 9 steps for them to follow. So what was the first one? Company of saints. Second one? Alertness. Third one? Serve Guru. Fourth one? No. Fourth one, sing the praises of Guru. Fifth one, Simran, mantra, will give you faith. Sixth one, control and character, good character. Good one, Marissa. She's the only one who got this one. Seventh one, see God in everyone. Good, Sharon. Eighth one, not to look at someone's weaknesses. Don't judge, even in your dreams. 9th one. Have faith in God so that you can accept the good and the bad. Because He is always there protecting you. So try and remember these 9 items. And implement them in your lives. And you'll find that your lives will become joyous and full of bliss. As your consciousness expands, the vibration you carry will start to affect everything around you as well. You create your own atmosphere, the one within here and the one around you as well. You have control over it. So pay attention to try to control the mind, even if it's for a few moments every day, so that you bring it to focus and to practice this technique of Brahmyan that most of you have been blessed with. And for those who haven't, Come and receive this awakening. Connect to that light that lies within you. That light that will remove the darkness, that will remove the negativity, and help you live a life of joy. On that note, we'll conclude today's discourse. Boliye Sadhguru Maharaj ki Jai. Sache Darbar ki Jai. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram. Jai Shri Ram.